Welcome to Before You Cut Bangs. I'm Laura Quick.
And I'm Claire Fearman.
I am a professional storyteller and I'm writing my first book.
And I'm a therapist, but not your therapist. Full disclaimer, take what you like, leave the rest.
Do we hate timelines? You know I'm the queen of arbitrary timelines. I love to be like, in 91 days, you know what we're going to do? We'll announce this.
Let's start with the story. Because I used to buy your timeline. So when Laura and I met, she'd be like, for 30 days, I'm going to do this. And in 90 days, then we'll make the big announcement. But for 120 days, you can't. And finally, I was like, these are arbitrary days.
Yeah.
Like, what happens on day 121? Like, did life change?
Yes. Syndication.
Yeah. So.
Actually, I remember being in the car with you, telling you about it. Like, I'm going to wait. I'm not going to talk to this person for 12 days. And you literally were smiling. And I was like, why are you smirking like that? And you said, God, I love a Laura arbitrary timeline where you just make these up. And I was like, oh, I do that.
Because what do they do for you?
They make me feel like I'm in control.
And like with like a deadline for a project or something, that is not an arbitrary timeline. But in relationship or when we think things need to happen for us, it's pretend. It's play pretend in the name of control.
I love play pretend.
I'm going to learn a lot here because this sounds weird to me.
What part?
Well, that you would put timelines on, like deadlines, 100% for me.
Yes,
That's how I work. I work on a deadline. But timeline, I don't think of things in timelines.
Oh, I do.
Oh,
really?
She loves a no contact for 30 days, anything like
I've heard.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I will be like, you know what? I need just a complete unplug from this for 30 full days.
That's funny. Now I can like go back in my head and hear you saying this about a bunch of situations.
But she'll give you the same advice. So if I'm like, with this job or blah, 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 she'll be like, for 72 days, don't think about it and only journal. And then you'll come in and we'll script what you'll say. And I'm like, yes.
Because it's convincing.
It feels so good. I'm like Neosporin on the gaping wound. And I'm like, I think the 70 days is going to do it.
I feel like as women, we do. It is the thing when you feel like you have no control. It's like you grasp at any straw you can to just feel like you have a little control. And so over the last 2 years of my life, I didn't feel like I had a lot of control.
What did you, 7 to 2 years?
I was like 7 months. I was going to say 7 months, but then I was like, that's not true.
Okay.
For 2 years, I didn't feel like I had a ton of control. I felt like I was at the mercy of kind of my situation. And my situation was, and this is something I'm kind of sorting through that you and I have been talking about, and I'm talking about in therapy, which is there is this cool thing that happens when, as a woman, I feel like, and maybe men too, I don't know, Will, you could tell us, where you're protecting a situation that feels really private, right? You're like, I'm protecting us, I'm protecting the situation, this feels sacred, or like, we're going to get through this, it's going to be fine. And you don't really know when you flip over to pretending. Like, it's like this weird, like, pretending. And in that, I love to create a nice timeline. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I love, because it makes me feel like I'm controlling something that I honestly I have none. I had no control over what was happening in my life or the impending divorce that I went through that I didn't know was going to come, because I really thought I'm going to protect this and this is just a season and something great's going to happen.
So the timeline in that case protected from pain.
Yes. It kept me away from, because I was like, I love to be like, I can get through anything for 30 days. Mm-hmm. So I'm just going to put up with this for 30 more days. And then 30 turns to 60 and 60 turns to 90 and 90 turns to, oh my God, 6 months. And then all of a sudden, I've got friends calling and texting each other to make sure I've showered. Mm-hmm. or
So
eaten.
it's that idea that we've talked about before about like taking a large thing and just looking at it in chunks, like small bits, right?
No.
It's not.
No, this is
That's
just
to
for
clean out a closet.
Oh, that sounded like what she was saying. Like,
See, you
30
bought her bag of goods.
I did.
Yeah, you did. Hey, I'm a
He's
great
like,
salesperson.
That's exactly what we should be doing. Okay, so let me give the other side of what timeline can look like. So Laura's looking at it in the future. So I'll do these things for this amount of time. It's in attempt of control, which control is just let me soothe my pain temporarily or put it to the side because I'm not ready to see it yet. The other thing people do is the timeline is what should have already been. I should have these things. I should be at this place in my career. So I should have already gone to France or whatever it is. It can be these things aren't on my timeline, which is directly hitting our own self-worth.
You see this a lot with, we were just talking about it in here with our, the video and film team. They're like, oh, well, you feel like you're supposed to have your life figured out because you're graduating college and you need to know exactly. But those are those.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
The shoulds.
I should already have this figured out. When it's like, oh my God, no, you shouldn't.
Yeah, which by the way, don't listen to those expectations.
No.
Like, these shouldn't. As soon as she said that, I was like, oh no. There
No.
should be no expectations. Like that.
No.
Really let loose. You
Or
know?
just show up and do the best you can with what you have, and
Yeah.
you will find, we talk about that a ton at work. It's like, I did a 10-year speech recently, and I was like, you wake up and you're pretending that you know what you're doing, and then one day you're like, holy shit, I do know what I'm doing. And that's kind of how life happens, especially after like college and graduation. But you're right. I think that we have a lot of expectations that we have on ourselves. I should be further down the road.
So the belief in when we're talking, whether it's in your like future oriented or I'm more of the past, like I should have done all of these things already, because I'm more like this nostalgic, I wish Fantasyland type girly.
Yes, you are.
I can really dream big of what should have been. That's so sad. What we've constricted ourselves to is the belief that that it's all finite. Like I have to do it in this time period, or I should have done it in that time period. But the switch in the mindset is like, what if it was just infinite? And like, don't come at me with like, but we're all gonna die. Like, I'm not saying sit around and let life happen, but if your mindset changes into there is no timeline, and just like you just said, just show up and see what happens, we reduce the control. But what does happen is sometimes we confront our pain.
Ew. Yeah.
You say, ooh.
Well, that's the thing I'm trying to avoid. I
special gift.
love these timelines help me stay as far away from you said pain, I would say the truth.
Which could be painful. Or
Yeah, the truth was very painful.
either way, it's going to be freedom because it's the reality.
Yeah.
So when we make the timeline or have the timeline belief and we're in this it's so finite. Mm-hmm. We've attached let me see how I want to say this. I know I'm not allowed to stop now that people video us. We've attached ourselves to these thoughts that are like just thoughts that then bring all of this stress. So if I can detach from those thoughts, those faulty beliefs, then I've already reduced the stress because they weren't true anyways. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense?
Yes. I mean, well, we have a little game here that we're going to play.
You want me to read these through?
Yes.
Okay, so here's the game. It's control it or surrender it. So I'm going to give you a situation, an example.
Okay.
And you have to say, a kid's college timeline. Surrender it for me. Mom will be control it. Surrender it. Yeah.
I had to surrender it. I mean, I feel like I've only sent one kid to college, which was Ethan, and it was so weird watching him go through this process. And it was very surrender because he wanted to go to Michigan, but ended up going to Alabama. And I got to, because I wasn't the primary parent, I was just like a bonus parent. It was cool to like hand that over and just be supportive.
My parents surrendering it for me was like life-changing. It's the reason I am who I am today.
So my parents did full surrender / full enabling, and I went to 5 colleges in 4 years. And when I was just bored of one, or changed my mind, they'd send a U-Haul. And whatever you want. Like
Just going to get you through college. It doesn't
Sorry
matter.
about your trauma. And because like my big trauma happened when I was 18. So I'm like coming off the heels. They're like, we just got to get her through. My brother's in and out of treatment. So I'm like golden child. I'm sure they're like, one of them's got to get educated now. And so no one contained me. So I want to be clear on there's a difference in container and control. Like I would never choose my kids' college and mandate that that's the path. But I think a full, like, you have the freedom because you're an adult. I had that and it was
a disaster.
silly.
But you also, your situation is so different because of that trauma you'd had at the end of high school and stuff. Like, yeah, it's hard for me to judge your parents.
I'm going to be honest.
Totally.
Same.
Like, of
I would have
course
done the
they did
same.
that.
I would have been
Yeah.
team.
They're like, you don't want to
Fairbanks.
live in Asheville, North Carolina in the adorable house we've rented you. And I'm like, well, no.
All right, next.
I'm going to go to Boulder.
The offer that hasn't come through. And I'm going to say for all of these, you know, my rule in life is you can only worry about the things that you can control, right? You can't spend
You're kidding.
any effort worrying about things that you can't control because you're wasting energy.
Hey,
See,
So a
from
lot
your
of these-
mouths to God's ear, I know.
You know what's crazy is for me, that doesn't feel like when I create a timeline, it's really not about worry. It's just about controlling it and being like, well, in 3 more weeks, I'm definitely going to hear about it. I'll check back with them 4 times, so it'll be fine. I'll get that contract.
I do remember though, like when we were starting to do TV work, Reed and I, like checking, like refreshing email every 5 minutes.
Yes.
Like waiting for a contract.
Yeah, I'm full surrender on that one. If it wasn't meant to, like, if I'm waiting for something, if it wasn't meant to be all good, I might cry about it. But when don't I? You know.
You know, I've gotten better as the years have gone by on stuff like that because I'm kind of like hands open. I get it, great. I don't get it, okay. There will be something better.
So we're pretty relaxed, you know.
Pretty relaxed about the things that you're relaxed about. Relational things, oh, I am a control freak.
All right, someone texting back.
Oh, never even think about that.
Yeah. I've
I have 150 unread text messages right now.
150.
Let's see, hold on.
I have 3,517
Of
unread text messages.
Well, I would never allow one notification on my phone. So
294, I'm sorry.
Yeah. I'm just not good. Look, even just from this morning, like unread.
Yeah, I have.
I don't have time. Nobody's got time for this.
Same.
yeah, the constant contact is exhausting.
But here's what I've
295.
learned, and I don't know if it's good or bad. It's been good for me, is that I don't have to respond immediately or ever. I
Yes.
usually do
Surrender.
at some point, but I don't have like
I'm practicing it right now.
they don't.
Oh, there
Other
you
people
are.
shouldn't control your response time, unless it's like work, unless it's something
Yeah.
that like
Yeah.
oh you have
If it's time sensitive, that's one thing, but you better call me. And even then, good luck. Okay, go on. What's
All right,
next?
next home renovations.
Oh, clear.
You better control
I was
it.
gonna say you control that.
Control.
Yeah.
You have to have the timeline. See?
Okay, timeline and management, yes. But if you've gone through home projects, once they pull up something, there's another problem that I had to surrender or I was going to be really upset about it. And then the vanity I ordered for the bathroom came totally smashed. Like, what was I going to do about it? Like, I solved the problem, but I'm not going to obsess. That
Right.
I'm like, oh, well, that's a bummer. How do I course correct here? But as far as management, you better believe
There better be a
David gets a
timeline.
lot of calls from me.
Every day.
100%. That's how it should be. Yet you're surrendering the expertise to them,
Yeah.
but you're controlling the management. Yeah. Publishing timelines. I feel like you have to control that, right?
Control. I've been doing it for 10
Oh,
years.
I don't publish anything, so full freedom.
Okay, good. Airline delays.
Oh, surrender,
Yeah.
not miss jail.
I know. You can't control them, though. You
I don't
actually
even
can't. so-
care.
I like to make it weird, you know? I like to go up and ask a lot of questions. Like, well, could you get me on any other flight? What about a different airline?
I'm on that Delta app so quick, and if I can't do anything,
Oh, same. I'm
then
on the
like,
Delta app. I'm
I'll
trying to switch everything over, but like if some shit's going down and I need to get home, what?
I'm sorry, I have to say this so I don't forget it. I guess we could say surrender control. So, and it's just reminded me I've got to call Delta today. When I was flying to Utah, I have never had this happen on any flight ever. I went to the bathroom. I had the kids. I mean, they're old enough to sit alone while I run to the restroom. And when I went in, the door felt weird to lock, but it locked. But I kind of kept my hand on there because I was like, maybe it's not, but I was real quick. And then I go to open it, and it will not open. So I'm like, okay, maybe it's pull and not put, like, whatever. I'm like trying both directions. And y'all know how loud it is. It's like I'm in the back of an airplane in a bathroom, and I'm like really starting to sweat. And I'm so meek in these situations. I'm like a tiny little knock. I was like, hello.
Just to the door, just looked at the door and said, hello.
Yeah, and I have no phone. And like, what would I have done?
Nothing.
Called my mom?
Text somebody.
Like, I'm on flight DL, whatever. I don't know how many minutes, but I was full on having to bang on the door.
Stop.
Yeah.
The white noise is so loud in an airplane. You don't notice it, but it's so loud that
So loud.
that would be, yeah.
Screaming. I'm stuck in the bathroom. A flight attendant finally hears. And
This is terrifying.
it was horrible. I was like, you're okay. You're not going to be in here, like, trying to get to the surrender place of, like, someone's going to figure, like, the kids will be like, where's my mom? So she can't get the door open and realizes that the flight attendant seat thing that comes down, part of it has jammed into the door. So she gets that, finally gets me out, and is like, she looks panicked. God knows what they do. They deal with Laura's, going to jail.
I would, you know what? I would get a free flight.
She
Free
looked
flight.
so scared. I'm texting my dad, and I'm like, I just got stuck in the bathroom. He's like, that's 15,000 miles easy. And he was like, you've got to get on the phone with them. But y'all, I was either going to live in the bathroom forever or not. It was terrifying.
So you're going to call and ask for miles?
Well, the big kicker was, of course.
You think they just give you a voucher or something? I don't know.
I don't know.
I think she
what
was-
year do you think it is?
Yeah,
I don't
they
know.
didn't
1999.
hand me
Here's
a
your
voucher
voucher.
and a pack of cigarettes. I'm so sorry, but I get back, kids, headphones, iPads. They're like,
don't
oh,
care.
hey, we ordered a Coke, whatever. But yeah, it was a safety issue, and my children were left unattended while I was locked in the bathroom.
But did you get a voucher?
I have to call today, is what I'm saying.
You need to call.
because I just
Okay,
Okay.
but here's, did they say, hey, look, they're going to take care of you, call? Or are you just doing this on your own?
I just know what they'll do.
know. See, this
and
is out
that
of my
lady,
comfort
You
zone.
should do it immediately though, because did I tell y'all about the really sassy when I was flying to Miami, this was back in the summer, I had the sassiest Delta flight attendants of all time. Two of them that were like handing out the stuff, and they spilled scalding hot water
yeah.
out of the tea. And and they were just like, oops. And I was like, excuse me. I was like, I'm burned. I literally had a mark
was
on my leg.
burned,
I really
actually.
was burned. I know. It sounds like I'm the drama queen on. All right, shut the.
yeah,
We do a
Mace-
lot of airplane talk on the show.
Okay, anyway, I don't even travel that much. Next question.
Your ex's emotional maturity. How could you control that? Why would you
I'll
want to
tell you.
control that?
A lot of ways you can control that.
Oh, yeah.
Same. I agree.
Letter writing, book suggestions.
Therapy appointment booking.
Oh,
Like couples therapy. You're just like, if we could just get one, I'm already in therapy, but you know what? I'll go with you and you can take up all the space.
I am queen of that.
Same.
Until now,
and
because I'm
here's
a
the
new
deal.
woman.
And now I will say, on the other side of that, one, nobody likes that. I wouldn't like it if it was being done to me. I think that there is this weird thing where you just, especially if you love your partner, you want them to be okay and healthy. And just like in friendships, we have blind spots. There's things Claire can say to me that I didn't know that I can receive. But I think in a relationship, if one person is struggling, the other person really wants to help them. And sometimes help for women, I'm speaking for myself here, can look like trying to be a control freak and booking all the things and making the things happen. And don't worry, I'll do this. And I wrote you a letter and I've ordered these conversation cards.
Oh, yes. That'll change everything. For me, if I'm uncomfortable with something, I'll have a lot of great ideas for you to fix it. And that goes back to what Laura was talking about the kind of pretending. I will develop a full fantasy of what could be, and I'm going to help you get there. And what that does is that means I'm not living in reality. And in fact, I'm living in what could be, which is torturous. So I am done a lot of work on that. I love that you're like, how could you do that? And I'm like, I could write a book on it.
I medicated by just when I went into from protection to pretending, I just medicated in doing a lot of things. Like just stack the calendar, start a couple new businesses, a nonprofit, whatever it takes. Just stay busy and like maybe this thing will fix itself, right?
All right, next. I don't even know what this is. Partner hanging curtains? What are you talking about?
Have you oh, you're handy.
Oh, that's right. So like if you're doing like a really cool something at the house, like when you built the porch.
Sure.
Okay. Could you imagine if Danielle was out there the whole time, like telling you what to do and controlling it?
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Okay. Is this a common thing though? This partner hanging curtain, like that phrase?
Oh yeah, that's like a huge thing in marriages but you're very meticulous in fixing and building, so you've probably just always done it right.
I think we just stay in our lane. She's really good at stuff, and I let her just do that, and she doesn't bother me with the stuff.
Usually the fight is men think that curtains go right. And newly engaged, you're going to want to really listen to this part.
Yeah, that's true. Vincent, this is important. You'll want to hear this.
So most men think that curtains are going to start right above the window.
Okay.
No, that's not true.
And that's not true. You want 6 to 10 inches above.
And we hate it when you do that.
And the curtains still have to touch the floor.
Yes.
You do want them to touch the floor?
You have to. 100. You don't want to look like, what are you in a prefab trailer?
I don't.
Well, a lot of people don't know this as now.
And not that there's anything wrong with that, by the way.
I don't know this.
I've had one.
So a lot of times that will cause arguments, or then the husband's up there with a drill and the wife's like, it's still crooked. And I mean, I have I've had this text conversation with so many girlfriends where they're like, that motherfucker in the curtains.
This is
like
funny.
I have to go on a walk right now.
Yes.
Huh.
Or even just seeing clients. Like this is like the thing that people freak out about.
And it's not a time to grow in partnership. That I hire someone to hang all curtains. I will not ever have that fight again.
This is wild. I told you at the beginning. I said, I think I'm going to learn a lot in this episode. This is the most educational episode
In
we've ever done
fact,
for me.
and I didn't read this episode as it turns out before. So
good. You created it. So just as we're clear.
It was my topic. Mm-hmm. This is yesterday at 4:56 p.m. from me to someone else. Would you be open and available to help me hang curtains this weekend? Zero pressure. Side note, I do not own a drill. Sure, I've got a drill. One of this guy's kids has games, blah, blah, blah. His wife has to go on a run. And I had to say, I'm home all weekend and I'm at your mercy. So please just tell me the date and time and I'll be available. Like, I have to have someone that I really trust and friends with, or pay someone.
Look, I like curtains, fine.
I almost texted you.
No, well, I would come and hang your curtains for you. It's fine.
Oh, he would.
Had no idea there was this much importance and thought that goes into the curtains.
Yeah.
I think usually she just tells me where to put them and I put them up.
Well,
Or
so,
she
like,
does it. She
I
probably
will
hangs
say,
curtains.
moving into this new house and then having someone really kind and handy hang my curtains was like a real gift to me.
Real treasure.
You
Next
could
one.
also call
treasure.
me, Laura. I would come hang your curtains as well.
I got some sconces coming in, and you'll be the
Don't
first
worry,
to
you're-
know.
I can do sconces. All right, healing pace. Is this your own healing pace?
Yeah.
I'm so out of this.
No, it's not. This is when you talk about your divorce, when you're like, that was the only time I've wanted a fast forward button. That's that.
Okay. I remember when I went through a divorce being like a 1 year fast forward button because I didn't want to talk to people about it. I didn't want to have to explain it.
Yes.
Oh,
And I had a list of like, who have I told, who have I not told? Not an actual written down list, but I
But
knew
in
it.
your mind, yes.
Yeah, and I
then
remember,
how
like-
awkward. Like recently, I had a friend that was in my wedding who was like, no one's talking to me. Like, I really care about your marriage. And like, me and my wife love you guys, blah, blah, blah. And that was like the last big conversation that I had to have that felt like, again, the mental checklist of like, this person deserves because of how invested they were. And to have that conversation, it felt so like, almost like you're bursting this bubble of like, oh, yeah, it didn't work. You're almost like, I'm sorry it didn't work out. Like, mom and dad got a divorce. But like, it is a weird thing where I have, even talking to my editor, my editor in my book, she's like, hey, feels like you're going through a lot. Do we need to slow down? I was like, absolutely not. We will stay on the timeline. We will stay on the timeline. I am writing this book. Do not worry, Beth. I've got it. And she was like, okay, well, it would be okay. This feels like a lot. And I was like, yeah, it's a lot, but I'm good. I have a timeline I'll be sticking to.
And you'll get your pages.
Thank you.
I see that a lot with clients that get frustrated with themselves when their pattern eventually repeats and they're like, I thought I already did this. But typically we just have to, our patterns will repeat. We get better and better at changing the course of them.
Or recognizing them so you can get out of it.
And pivoting, but sometimes clients get bummed out. They're like, oh, I did the same thing again. And I really try to soften that. Like, oh, of course you did. Like, that's part of your story and you're recognizing it and doing it differently. And where I do it is sometimes I get frustrated actually with myself where I'm like, oh, wait, I knew better than that. I thought I'd grown already. Or sometimes I'll want to fast forward and like be this magical person I think I'll be in 6 months.
My therapist literally just looked at me this week and said, wow. He was like, do you remember when you started? And you said, I'm in maintenance. And I was like,
that's cute.
I do remember that. Thank you for bringing that up. It's kind of a tender subject. But he was like, wow, this feels like the work. Mm-hmm. Because that big epiphany for me of like, I protect, and then somehow transition into pretending. And I don't know I'm doing it. Like, it's this thing that I have done. And he's like, well, there you go. And I'm like, I guess I'm not in maintenance. Haven't been in maintenance,
Explain
by the
what
way.
maintenance is real quick.
Yeah, for me, maintenance means proactively, I knew I had some big stuff coming. I did not know what the big stuff was, as it turns out. But when I hired this therapist specifically, I was just starting to write. And it was bringing up a lot of stuff that I hadn't thought about in a really long time. And I just wanted to have a support system in case things were coming up that I needed to process. And then literally the week I started, my life like actually blew up, like started to blow up. And that was 2 years ago. And then of course I protected and then pretended to the world. And I'd like to apologize about how shiny I made my fucking life look.
You've said that on here.
Okay, well, I want to say it every time.
I'm so
just
sorry.
in case you missed the last episode.
And
I bet, so like my guy friends, I think they're very intelligent and thoughtful people. I bet you if I like explained to them what we were talking about, every one of them would be like, what? Huh?
Really?
Oh yeah,
What
I'm
freedom?
so out of the, like, this one I'm just looking at both of y'all like, what is happening here?
Okay.
I mean, obviously the time, like your stuff with your stuff I know about and whatever.
Okay.
I'm just saying this concept on the whole.
I think it is really I do think this was birthed out of us saying this is something that as women, it gives us a sense of control. When we don't have any control, we can decide these 3 things can happen over the next 31 days. Mm-hmm. Or on January 1st, I'll tell people blank. Mm-hmm. You know, like even when I was going through divorce, I'm like, I'm going to wait. I'm not going to tell anybody until blank time. And then when I tell them that, then 3 months later, I'll tell them this. And then I'll announce that like who
Yeah,
the
we
like
know, it's
anybody
exhausting.
it's like a PR plan for my fucking life that nobody actually gives a shit about. Nobody's looking at my life like studying it like that. I don't think.
If I ever had to do that announcement again or tell people, which I'm not going to, I think I'd just have a party. I'd invite everyone over that's on my list. And then when they're like, hey, where is she? I'd be like, oh, yeah, sorry, everybody gather around. So here it is.
Here's
Rip
what's
the Band-Aid
happened.
off. And now back to the drinks.
Do you know
One swoop.
Okay, do you know what's crazy is I literally just did that with the board of the nonprofit that I helped start and the chair people. They worked so hard. My capacity has been so low, and I brought them over and was just like, hey, thanks for being the kind of women that stand in the gap. And by the way, I was doing the best I could. I don't think I did as good as I would like to have done for y'all, whatever. Okay. But anyways, I think that is important to say it to the people.
is that the end of the game?
No. Yes. We're moving on from the game because of time, just as a heads up. But this last segment that you put in this episode, which I do want to cover,
Can't wait to hear.
is instead of your timeline is delayed, or if you feel like your timeline is delayed. You said something earlier, like at the beginning of the episode, where you're talking about people who are like, it should have already happened. I should have already had this. What's a reframe of that?
So I read this. What started this for me is I opened this book, like a daily reader, to a random page, and it was about timeline. It felt really fitting that day. And I've said this before, when I ask clients just to reframe thinking, I think it sounds too cheap or too easy. And they're like, oh, I'm good. Like, that's not going to help me. But a reframe does help. So you can ask, like, what are the thoughts that I'm attached to that are really stressful, and what's true? Like, what is a fact versus a story? That reduces the attachment to it, and that, like, I have to have this. And it's not necessarily about, like, sitting in the grief that I wish my house was different. Like, I shouldn't have eye rolled.
You did, though. It's fine. You know what? It's so funny because I love watching Will. He's like, I've never even thought of this.
Never heard of these things.
What are you
It's
talking
a foreign
about?
language. I'm not kidding.
But I will say it's funny to me because I have so many friends who are therapists, and I've been spending time with one particular therapist who says a lot. How would you reframe that? And I was like, "Argh." But it's so helpful when you can take something and be like, man, this really sucks. And then have a friend, a tier 1 friend, who could be like, or maybe this is protection. Maybe you didn't get the job because a better job is on the way. Maybe that house didn't come through, the offer wasn't accepted because there's a better house or whatever. And that isn't Pollyanna.
That's right.
That is not Pollyanna. I really do believe that reframing helps you rewire your brain so you don't stay in patterns of arbitrary controlling timelines.
Because that is suffering. And I'm sure I've said that. Suffering is a choice. People don't like to hear that. Pain is going to happen. I'm going to scrape my knee. Someone in my life is going to die. Like, those are things that are inevitable. The suffering. And if I stay in that place, maybe it's a victimized place or an anxious place of it should have been, could have been, what do I need to do to control it, is where I suffer. When adults are in pain and they can see it, they grow and get better or change or feel better. Pain is inevitable. So, like, roll with it.
Well, and there is a great book called The Choice by Dr. Edith Eger. I don't want to say that wrong. And I read it when I was training through Germany. And it is about her surviving concentration camps. And if you want to hear, I mean, she spent her entire life as a therapist after that, or a psychologist. And she talks about having to make a choice on how I was going to reframe the suffering, the pain that I was in. And that's a really heavy way to think. But, like, ultimately, it changed my perspective on how I was thinking, or what was I going to allow my mind, where was I going to allow my mind to go when things are really, really hard? Because it's very easy to just call it into, like, this is the worst thing ever. But, man, I read that book and bawled the whole, I mean, it was also profound what she did with her life. She's still alive. You can hear her speak, and she still does a high kick. She was a ballerina, and she danced. She saved her and her sister's life by dancing for the guy that was throwing them in to the gas chambers. It's real.
Gotta read it.
It's so good. So good. Thank you, Tracy, if you're listening. She listens, and she's a therapist that told me to read that book.
The Choice, Embrace the Possible.
Yep.
Name of that
So
one.
good.
How about that?
Little homework assignment.
Yeah, if you want, but it's a harder, but it's also, there's some levity in it. It's worth it. She's an amazing storyteller.
98 years old, too.
High kicks on the stage still. That's real.
All right,
a
so what did we
gangster.
talk about today?
You are really that lost.
No.
I was trying to give a good closing line. Go out
Listen,
on.
here's what we want you to do. It's you're moving into the new year. You have the ability to relinquish control, right, Claire? What will we tell people about relinquishing control as they move into 2026?
The timeline isn't yours. There's your own business, their business, and God or universe's business. Like, stay in yours and let the timeline unfold. And timelines are different than deadlines.
Keep your hands open. Hands open to receive and hands open for things to leave. And you know what? I'm not on the other side of the hard things that have happened to me, but what I can tell you is thank God for people like Claire who made me be like, what are you doing? Let that go. My life is exponentially better because I'm not trying to control everything right now. And I'm really grateful for that.
And save your marriage and hire someone to hang your curtains.
Or don't save your marriage if you don't need to.